Hello and welcome to The Serpent Story, everyone. I'm Aruna, and today we're diving into a topic that's, well, honestly, a matter of life and death for many in Odisha, snakebites. Now, before you get too nervous, I promise this isn't just about fear. It's about understanding and, hopefully, a bit of respect for our reptilian neighbors.
Hey folks, I'm John, and I'm really excited to be here with Dr. Aruna. You know, when I first started working in India, I was shocked by how many people are affected by snake bites every year. But what really surprised me was how much of it is preventable, just by knowing a little more about the snakes themselves.
Absolutely, Dr. John. And in India, we often talk about the big four, the four venomous snakes responsible for most serious bites. Let's start with the cobra, or Nagasapa. It's quite iconic, really, with that hood it spreads when threatened. You might spot one in rice paddies, fields, or even near homes. They're not as rare as people think.
Yeah, and then there's the Russell's viper, Chandana boda, right? I always get the local names mixed up. This one's got that thick body and a chain-like pattern. Super good at hiding, especially in dry leaves. I read somewhere its hiss is as loud as a pressure cooker, which is kind of wild.
Oh, it's true. I remember once, during a farm survey in rural Odisha, I nearly missed a Russell's viper completely. It was so perfectly camouflaged among the leaves, I only noticed it when it hissed. Startled me half to death, honestly. But that's the thing. They're not out to get us. They're just trying to stay hidden.
And then there's the crate, or Chitisapa, or Ranasapa. This one gives me chills. It's nocturnal, so most bites happen at night, especially when people sleep on the floor. It's got that shiny black body with white bands, and the venom is super potent. The scary part is, sometimes the bite doesn't even hurt at first, so people don't realize what's happened.
Exactly. And finally, the saw-scaled viper, or Dulia naga. It's the smallest of the four, but don't underestimate it. It's quite feisty and makes this distinctive sizzling sound by rubbing its scales together. If you hear that, best to back away slowly.
So that's our big four. They're not villains, but knowing how to spot them and where they like to hide is the first step to staying safe. All right, so now that we've met the main players, let's talk about how to avoid running into them. I mean, prevention is always better, right? One of the simplest things is just using a torch at night. I know it sounds basic, but so many bites happen because people walk around in the dark and accidentally step on a snake.
Yes, and keeping your surroundings tidy is another big one. Piles of firewood, bricks, or even just rubbish, these are perfect hiding spots for snakes. If you can, try to keep those areas clear, especially near your home.
And sleeping on a cot or a raised bed, not the floor. I actually worked on a campaign in a village where we handed out mosquito nets and showed people how to tuck them in properly. It was amazing. Just that one change, and the number of crate bites dropped almost overnight. Sometimes it's the small stuff that makes the biggest difference.
That's a wonderful example, Rakesh. And for farmers, wearing boots and using a stick to check the ground ahead can really help. It's about being aware, not afraid.
But let's say, despite all that, someone does get bitten. This is where things get tricky because there are so many myths out there. Like people still think you should cut the wound or try to suck out the venom. Please don't do that. It doesn't help and can actually make things worse.
Absolutely. And never ever use a tight tourniquet. It can cut off blood flow and lead to even more damage, sometimes even amputation. And I know it's tempting to go to a traditional healer, but honestly, that's just wasting precious time. The only real treatment for a venomous snake bite is antivenom, and that means getting to a hospital as quickly as possible.
On the way, you can use a pressure bandage. Not a tourniquet, but a snug bandage around the limb. It helps slow the spread of venom, but the main thing is to stay calm and get medical help fast.
Yes, and above all, don't panic. I know that's easier said than done, but keeping calm can really make a difference in those first few minutes. Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on something that's close to my heart: coexistence. Snakes aren't just dangerous animals, they're actually vital for our ecosystem. They keep rodent populations in check, which helps farmers more than most people realise.
Yeah, and they're not out to attack us. Most of the time, if you just give them space, they'll move away on their own. If you do find a snake in your house, don't try to handle it yourself. Call your local forest department or trained rescuer. Seriously, it's not worth the risk.
I've seen some really inspiring things in Odisha: villagers, forest staff, and NGOs working together on snake rescue programs. When people understand more about snakes, there's less fear and more respect. It's amazing how quickly attitudes can change when knowledge is shared.
That's so true. I think the more we talk about this, the more we can replace fear with understanding. And honestly, that's what this podcast is all about.
Well, that's all we have time for today on The Serpent Story. Thank you so much for joining us, Rena. And thank you to everyone listening. Remember, a little awareness goes a long way.
Thanks, Aruna. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll be back soon with more stories and tips on living safely with wildlife. Until then, stay safe and stay curious. Goodbye.